Alright, it's time. It's my time. It's high time that what you see up here on the screen is well, it's the Hasbro Pulse YouTube video. I have not watched it actually, so this is going to be basically a live reaction, whatever. Hasbro Pulse video. I assume the whole 4 hours isn't about Heroescape, so I'm actually just scrolling comments, hoping that like it's a shame they didn't put. Wait, did they put timestamps in here? For like to be like, yo, yeah, like here's where Heroescape is, because I don't really care about most of Hasbro, frankly. They make a lot of shitty board games, so most wouldn't have to suffer through all of it. Oh yeah, here we go. So someone, Chad, see, dude, with a name like Chad, we know this guy's awesome. Thank you, Chad.
Head of Design and Development of Avalon Hill.
Hi, Chris. I lead Avalon Hill's design development team. I've been with the company since 2007, and I'm known as in Carmine on the Discord server.
And we've got Craig, lead designer
here's
of
Craig,
old and new Heroescape.
the man himself.
Yes, after 12 years, Heroescape is back, and I am so excited.
And we have a very special guest joining us today. He's not in the studio,
more.
He's remote. You most likely know him from Watch It Played. We've got Chaz.
Hey, hi, I'm here. Oh, hey, and
Did my computer just freeze, or is that the stream? What? Okay. All right. Problem's fixed. No more commie internet, hopefully.
It's a big day for us on the Avalon Hill team because it marks a new dawn and a new era for Heroescape.
Experiencing
Today,
interruptions?
The Age of Annihilation begins. Let's take a look.
Let's go, dude. Age of Annihilation. Oh.
The Wellsprings were a blessing.
This is all brand new.
They gifted us with the powers of God. Visions of the future. Armies summoned from distant galaxies. We were wrong. The Wellsprings bring our world nothing but pain. Nothing but suffering and endless destruction. Driven to war to protect them from the clutches of
everything's so chrome.
Minions, the Valkyries came together in a fleeting moment of hope. But my visions of the future drove me to despair.
I feel like this is going to mislead people to think that the miniatures are like metal and chrome. That's funny.
Until I saw my own home reduced to ash. Until I heard the whispers and rumors of our Valkyrie and other Wellsprings. Not knowing where those allegiances
This is very pretty.
drove me even further into madness.
I like the colors.
Driven by revenge, I can no longer sit idly by.
Like the colors are very bright. Everything is shiny.
I will lose more than my home. I will lose everything. The world reduced to the memory of a flame. You can be a hero or a pacifist, but you cannot be both. Peace is but a dream in Valhalla, a dream I can no longer seek. I will carve my name into my enemies, and everyone will know
Who's talking?
who stands against them.
Who's...
My world no longer needs a scholar or a historian. It needs a hero.
Who's supposed to be talking there?
Customize epic battlefields, draft your army, and join the greatest battle of all time. Heroescape.
Whoa.
Annihilation.
Wait. Are these... So, most of this looks like General Heroescape. Like, it basically looks like AOTP. What is up with this on the bottom right? Wait, is my picture covering it? Yo, they made, like, actual hex-shaped cards without the funny... It doesn't look like, it looks different. You know, there is a convex. They're convex now instead of concave by going like, you know, up and out and then in like this. It's like everything is, it's a legit hexagon instead of going like out and then back in. That's something else.
Become legendary.
This looks really nice. There's a lot of like, a lot of castle pieces and everything in there.
That VO kills it.
A lot of castle pieces in there. If that's like the base set, that's really nice.
It's a very important moment for us to talk about the Heroescape community of amazing players who helped keep this thing alive even after it first went out of print. How long has it been, Craig? Like 10, 12 years?
12 years.
Yeah, Craig said 12.
The community has been playing this game. And Chaz, that leads me to a question for you. When did you first start playing Heroescape?
Oh, well, I actually became aware of Heroescape right during, when it was initially
This dude's got
released. I think that the very first
a lot of
print
scape
run
in the
of it had
background.
the little sparkly, semi-translucent water tiles, and I remember actually I stayed away from it because I knew that if for me at least, if there's if there's any meat to this game, once I dive in, it's gonna suck me all the way in, and that held out.
Yeah, that happened to all of us.
And once the second printing came
It ate
along,
our wallets.
I dove in.
And got only
it sucked
worse
me
when
in.
they stopped
As you can
printing
tell,
it.
Yeah,
sucked
yeah.
me in completely.
Yeah, Chaz, we can see
But,
behind
so that was
you.
my experience. Pardon?
Oh yeah, we can see what's behind you.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
dude, that's a lot.
And,
That's a lot of terrain back there, especially.
So I kind of from that point was that's when I got into it, was when the second printing came.
I don't know who this guy
That's
is.
awesome. When was
Chaz?
the last time you got to play?
Oh, that's a good question. It was just a couple of years ago.
I didn't even realize what was his role. I didn't catch his role. He must work for
when
Avalon
the
Hill.
Edition of it was wrapping up its print run. Was right about the time that my daughter was born, and so I put it away in all these big Tupperware containers. I put it up in the attic with this idea that when she's a certain age, I'm going to break it out and introduce her to it. And just a few years ago, actually, she hit that age, and I brought it out, and it was really cool because it was not only an introduction of it to her, but it was kind of a reintroduction and refamiliarization of it to me as well.
That's what I want to do, dude. With my daughter, she loves already playing with the Heroescape toys, like just as little dollies. It'll be fun to teach her.
That's the last time I got to start playing it again.
It'll be fun to teach her how to play it for
What's
real.
your favorite squad? Who did she play with?
She liked the dragons
Who doesn't?
a lot. Yeah. And she liked those because they...
This is funny because my daughter, she didn't care for the dragons. She what did she like? She liked like the very ice type creatures, but she's obsessed with Elsa, so that's pretty much why. But so she likes like the Evar Scar Carver. I don't think I have a greater ice elemental, but and she played with the Merfolk Royal Mage from AOTP, but it's because like he's got like the waves at his feet, so it looks like ice. So, but she loves like the ice. The guys with like the ice in their hands and stuff. She loved that, and she didn't care much for the dragons. Very funny.
Visualize them just eating all of her dad's pieces. So she went for anything that anything I was playing.
That's what my daughter did. Except instead of eating
That's
my
cool.
guys with dragons, she would just ice skate her guys through my guys
Chris, tell us,
because
what's
ice
next
theme.
for Heroescape? What's coming up?
Yeah, well, Age of Annihilation is a progressive story from what original Heroescapers remember. We've taken the story forward. New Valkyrie stalked the battlefield, and now have kind of upset.
Did we need more
kind of
Valkyrie?
balance of the world in a way that they weren't even expecting.
We already had
It's,
6 or
stakes are
7. I
higher,
can't remember
the
now.
Carnage is greater, and there is warfare kind of reaching every corner of Valhalla at this point. And so it's given us a chance to kind of move the story along, introduce a lot of new species and
Yeah,
factions,
that's good.
new characters to be endeared to allow us to tell a bigger story behind the world of Heroescape.
A story bigger than the greatest battle of all time?
Even bigger.
Dude, Heroescape's awesome for that. Let's face it. Like everything from
From
all
a
time
game
periods just
mechanics,
killing each other.
standpoint, What's new? What's happening?
Well, hey, we want to make everyone happy, so the game is completely backwards compatible, but we're introducing all new army cards. So
Yeah,
you're gonna get like
those
50
look-
new army cards, new wall terrain,
50?
new jungle terrain. It's gonna be
New
awesome.
jungle, that's a good thing.
That sounds great, man.
Jungle's
And we've got it
balls
laid out in
expensive
front of
right
us here,
now.
but this is just a demo product. This is a sample, so this isn't what the final is going to look like. We don't even know what the final is really going to look like yet. That's the beauty.
This looks
of it.
pretty good
But you
though.
will be able to see
This what they got
rotating
here is
renders on the
not
screen
looking too
during
bad.
our presentation today.
Yeah, absolutely. And I
Oh,
think
there's
that's a
the,
great transition
there-
to really
there's the
start
blue
diving
Drake.
deeper into each one of these factions. Let's start with the Dryan.
He's definitely,
Lifeborn
that's a
Order.
Drake with a
Who are
frickin'
these
sword.
guys? Tell me about them.
Yeah, so the Dryan Lifeborn Order is a collection of elite magi who harness the powers of life and death to amplify their own magical abilities. While there might be small.
Why
in
is he so
number,
red?
They amplify and increase the size of their armies by drawing in all the beasts and creatures of their home world.
Did you just
to
say
kind of fight
drawing?
beside them and
Like that New
rampage
York or
across the
Brooklyn
battlefield
accent?
with kind of ferocious teeth and claws as they kind of do so.
That's so cool. I'm just gonna be a nerd for a second. Be like, I can't wait, man. That sounds
These
awesome.
look really good.
Fred, what does that imply for game mechanics?
Like quite detailed,
Well,
despite
the
lacking
Lightborn
paint.
are all about wizards and familiars. They work together, they kind of move together and attack together. One of the wizards is named Rakeshot, and she has this thing called Consume the Dead. So if you're near her and you happen to be destroyed, she actually puts a consume marker on her card, and then she can use those consume markers to kind of soul fury power ability.
Yeah, does any of these catch your eye? Are you looking at any of them? I see you squinting at that screen.
I'm not really sure what Craig even tried to explain there.
I'm curious. I can't wait to see the rest of the sets. But is there a focus on squads versus individual standalone minis that are like kind of their own squad, or is there still going to be kind of a mix? Is this green set we're seeing kind of will the different sets maybe focus on squads versus standalone minis, or how's that going to work?
Yeah, you're going to get squads and standalone minis. The Lightborn happen to be all unique heroes because they have
all unique heroes,
mages and familiars. But the familiars kind of like bond with the mages.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
But just like classic Heroescape, right? You'll be able to mix and match these factions.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So it's not expected that you play all one or all another. We're not changing the game in that way. It's all about how you want to build synergies on top of each other to play.
Yeah, Heroescape, we try to make everything synergistic. So the wizards here might work with the elf wizards as well.
All right, well, let's move on. Oh, sorry, man. Remote. Let's move on to Nemesis War Brood. That's these folks up here.
Yeah, the Nemesis War Brood have been evolving over kind of eons on their home planet of Arboreus, and they've become this kind of martial society of what looks like crude.
Those remind me of like the Eldrazi
bugs,
from AOTP.
Whoa,
what the frick, dude? Yeah, that looks like the stuff of nightmares.
In terms of complementing each other and kind of making sure that they can kind of force multiply as they do.
Yeah, I mean, these guys kind of give me the heebie-jeebies. Like,
yeah,
in the
definitely.
Way, but it's like, man, imagine waking up with one of those in your house.
Yeah, the queen works with the honor.
That's the queen, the large thing probably, the large tall thing.
This one right here, yeah.
And like, basically, if you're next.
Oh wait,
to her,
or is this green guy the
she might
queen?
You, so she puts an honor guard figure.
Is this green thing the queen, and then the rest of these are like the dumb, mindless things?
Higher, poof, your figure's destroyed, and then the honor guard pops up. You know, like that's how it works.
That's kind of gross, man.
Yeah, right. So it's like zombies. I forget. I missed most of what he said, but yeah, recycling. Right. So it sounds like a zombie almost.
Way to think of it.
Yeah, for sure. Well, let's get to the cutest group, I think. The cutest little faction, the adorable little Clockwork Combine. I don't mean to be demeaning. There's some very large figures there as well.
They must be the most fierce of all the factions, in fact. The Clockwork Combine is a group of...
Oh, a dude. There was a dude in like a little crater below. Okay.
Who, in order to survive on their planet, they've had to take their discipline and ingenuity and become inventive and craft new weapons of war that allow them to compete.
I feel like I need to stop. Wait. Did they just like throw like Gorillinators out the window then? Because isn't that what Gorillinators did? Already these guys remind me of Gorillinators in that like it was just like apes that like they just looked like ragtag like tech nerds. This kind of seems the same thing. Well, I guess the Gorillinators didn't really have like flying, but it reminds me a lot of that.
They would have never been capable of doing before, so that ingenuity has given them a leg up.
Right, it's like techie animals. I guess it's kind of hand in hand with Gorillinators, but yo, bring more Gorillinators. Come on.
Carbines into battle to kind of wreak havoc across the battlefield. So.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine. It's like steampunk meets anthropomorphic mammals, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds about right.
Nothing's wrong with that.
Yeah, I have to say they are my favorite faction.
Why are there so many? Yeah, like the factions are like 2 or 3 colored. What's up with that?
Mechanic point of view.
It's like there's one guy here that's a different color, kind of like in the previous one too.
Reveal an order marker, you get to put another one down, which is really nice because they can just they're almost like the old airborne elite.
Yeah. I was gonna say, because those guys snuck onto the board a few rounds in too, right?
There's less luck.
Yeah.
The gliders.
Yeah,
Oh, less
yeah,
luck?
among
Good.
these ones, you know, so far,
Please.
which faction would you choose?
More
Would you vote for
deterministic
playing
stuff. A little bit of dice
Well,
rolling is fine,
no,
but
well,
man.
definitely the bugs. They gave me the heebie-jeebies, but in a good way. But seeing the anthropomorphic animals there, that is. I'm thinking back to all the other sets I'm familiar with, you know, and that is something that's a little bit different. And so I'm really interested to see, you know, how they fit into everything and how their models turn out.
Yeah, I think one of the amazing things about Heroescape that we were all endeared to was that you could have dinosaurs who fought ninjas, who fought giant death machine robots. And so when we kind of took that kind of brand logic back to the
You could have zombies.
studio and
Zombies
redesigned
fighting
these factions,
Romans,
it was an effort to
fighting
kind of
snakes.
introduce that crazy variance in range.
Fighting
across
Dund,
the
whatever the
entire
hell Dund
universe
was.
again, and reintroduce it to this whole new generation and back to, you know, fans of the original game in a way that they're seeing a lot of new stuff today.
I mean, look at these bears.
This looks pretty good. I like how big.
I think those are some of the coolest pieces.
Maybe
I've
not
seen.
big. The castle set looks really good on this
especially
map here
Heroescape.
that they have in front of
Oh, yeah,
them. Like
bringing them
that's.
back up. Thank you.
It seems very
I guess we
hopefully
do need
cheap for
move
them to
on
produce.
Something that's not quite so cute, not quite so adorable, and that's the Ironclad Collective.
Yeah, the Ironclad Collective are a faction of cybernetically augmented organics that over time they've kind of supplemented their own powers and abilities with all kinds of different technology in an effort to become just mass murdering machines on the battlefield and just absolutely annihilate their enemies with, you know, blades and
This is like full-on post-apocalyptic.
and just bring the true horror kind of to the world of Valhalla.
Yeah, it's like a guy stuck in a Pokeball. Or like a Terminator stuck in a Pokeball. Yeah, this is. I'm not sure if I'm a big fan of these guys. This is like, yeah, post-apocalyptic and.
Lets him heal up, remove wound markers.
Oh wow!
Fun to play.
So it'd be hard to get off the battlefield.
He just keeps feeding the forge.
You gotta fight him with a big dragon or something, right?
No, we even scaled him so he could accurately take in human scale miniatures on the battlefield.
Oh, that is so
They
great.
scaled them
Right.
so the human-sized miniatures
favorite
fit.
faction
It's
that
pretty
was
cool.
Going into today is the Dawn Raider Syndicate.
I mean, you have to.
Tell me about these guys.
Has to look
Yeah,
like
the
it could
Raider
happen.
Syndicate is a collection of pirates, mercenaries, privateers.
These guys,
no single
that looks pretty cool.
theory
These were some of the
master.
pictures I saw from my
And,
last video
they
when I
kind
put
of,
in.
work for coin and glory and you know, their own kind of self-motivations on the battlefield. So they end up
That's
a very,
pretty sick.
eclectic kind of
Yeah, I feel like
different
if I had to
kind
pick a
of
favorite faction so
allegiances
far,
and kind of
this one might be
preferences
mine.
there.
I have a
So
feeling a
there's
lot of
great
people are gonna like
range
this.
of kind of things, and they have
Like,
a
dude,
lot of kind of
frickin' sword and a gun.
sneaky kind of things.
They pretty much all have a sword and a gun. Like, there's nothing cooler than that.
Right, as you look at the pirates too, you can tell that each of the characters are molded in general colors. So there's some that are blue, which report to Jandar. There's some that are red, which report to Ukar, and then there's some that are orange.
So right,
which
so
report
they're
to
literally
you,
mixing like
right?
Jandar and Ukar is basically what he said. How are they gonna make sense of that in the story?
Thea Bonnie, she's like the master of disguises. So if you try and target her, if she
So
rolls a
that's what I'm
15 or
getting.
higher, you
All right,
just
I'm at the
ignore
pot. I can't.
completely.
So what I'm getting from this, based on what he said, I'm guessing that that's literally why I see like these multicolored and then like one or two like seemingly leaders from each of these colors. So it's like there's like a bunch of like random. How do I explain this? It is, but like he just said, like there's some Jandar figures that are apparently working with Utkar figures in whatever this collective is, and like yeah, like we have like what 1, 2, 3, like I see 4 different colors in this picture right here, like so Jandar and Utkar figures or guys, whatever, are working together now. Like, what's the reason for that?
Tell me about this new Valkyrie. I mean, what can we say about Revna so far? Anything you can give it?
Revna.
So Revna is a very dark and wicked witch seer, and so she actually has same abilities of precognition and looking into the future as Thorman does. And this gives kind of
I don't remember what Thorman. I remember the name Thorman, but I don't really know.
Kind of equal playing field.
I don't know Heroescape lore super well.
Future of the world.
I just play the game.
And she's really aggressive and assertive, and she kind of takes the battle by storm. And so you can see as her kind of, she's kind of drawn in these factions like the Nemesis War Brood and the Ironclad Collective. That you can see her, you can start to see kind of her play style, so to speak.
That's rad.
But she's not alone, right? There's another new one.
Yeah. So you might notice this green.
I don't know if we were supposed to say that. Were we supposed to say that?
I guess we're going there. I guess we're going there today.
Yeah.
So, the kind of lime green kind of options that you kind of see across the battlefield here are actually affiliated with a second Valkyrie known as Valaric.
Wait, lime green isn't Ular?
Continent Hawkland, which was in the original map.
Oh man.
Never spoken to, and so we're taking an opportunity to introduce a wellspring and a Valkyrie from the world of the continent of Hawkland, and she's a pragmatist. She's studious. She kind of takes her time, and she has been kind of quietly preparing for her engagement into this war. And so she arms her soldiers with magically enhanced weapons that she forges using the powers of the wellspring, and it gives her.
Wait,
a very,
I mean, all right. See, I feel like I need to stop here. I already forget this person's name, but again, like if this is lime green, the fact that perhaps it just stuck out to me, but they mentioned they're like, oh, they forge magical weapons. Isn't that kind of what Uller did for? I want to say for Savaris and maybe for Dirty Dan. Like a lot of the range figures, maybe even for Sayland as well. I don't remember the lore super well, but I thought Uller did a lot of similar things, like with the green units. And maybe I'm just
kind of different,
whatever.
Kind of almost contrasting kind of logic to Revna. So we get this cool kind of dichotomy happening there.
That's awesome, Chaz. All right, now I gotta ask you. You've seen them all overview of all of them. What Valkyrie do you align with? What faction do you draft?
Okay, dude. Now that I've seen everything, we definitely.
The pirate one looks pretty cool.
The bluish gray gentleman with the 4 arms.
Yeah, with the guns.
The screen, I was like, oh, that's it. That's the guy. That's my new.
The
best
right,
friend.
the right to bear arms. The figure with 4 guns. I like that. That is pretty funny. Yeah, dude. That one is pretty cool.
Raider Syndicate.
Yeah.
Follows Vidar.
Yep.
He's
Well,
Vidar.
a
Okay.
faction That kind of is a conglomeration of people playing by their own rules. There.
Yeah.
Not that I'm speaking from personal experience or anything, but that kind of draws to my heart.
Yeah, I think that will for a lot of people.
Yes, and
Like
some
the
of
pirate
the
dudes all
older
wielding like swords and guns.
races are
It's
in
so
there,
freaking cool.
Like the Gruts, the
Gruts.
Grillinators.
Yes,
So
yes,
kind of a
Grillinators, see?
nod to the past.
Morrow.
Good.
We gotta shout
there's
out
a
the
Morrow
Morrow.
in there,
There's
too,
Morrow
for
in
sure,
there.
yeah.
Yeah, it was really an effort to.
Yeah, dude,
to
Craig
let
knows
the
what he's
Heroescape
doing.
community
Let's go.
Know that some of their favorite kind of species and characters are still very much part of the story and the canon.
What about
of our game,
Doggin?
and will continue
For
to
those
be so.
Dun fans?
It wouldn't be Heroescape if we didn't talk about the scape part of the title, right? So there is all new terrain.
Oh, the
within
terrain.
HasLab campaign. Never before seen stuff. Tell us about that.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, what's cool is that it's a terrain that you can like build right angles on a hex, and we also are introducing
wow.
the jungle, the new alien jungle.
That looks really
which
good.
You can see on their screen. But likewise,
This is good, though.
Heroescape, sometimes
Dude,
the rules change a little bit based
The
on
Call of Jungle is
scenario.
so expensive, even though I have 2 sets.
The walls might be illusionary walls in some scenarios,
Cool.
which is nice for like melee units.
I
'cause
like
you
the way
can
this
run
looks.
Up right next to them and then run through the wall to assault range guys.
Yeah,
That's a
it's-
good
it's so
idea.
beautiful
What
to
Craig just said
lay
about the
out
illusionary
a
walls, where it's like,
battlefield
it's a
for
line of sight
Heroescape,
blocker,
where
but
it's
then like a
an
melee
impressive
unit
thing
can
to
go
just see
through it
kind of
and hit
across the
you.
dining room table, and to now
Good
add
idea
all these
to
beautiful kind of jungle
knock the
elements
ranged
and add in
assault
these really
down a
beautiful
notch.
kind of ruins that you can kind of stack and build height to. It gives a lot of dimension.
That's
and
cool.
A lot of kind of customization in your map creations too.
Right. And plus, there'll be 20 new scenarios that will be part of the HasLab. So you'll have all new scenarios to build out in ways that have never been done before.
Yeah.
I have to ask, because Chaz brought it up, the water, is it going to be sparkly or not?
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely
Sparkly water.
That was a must.
We've heard loud and clear
Wow.
from our friends on both Discord and across the internet. Sparkly water is a must.
I wonder how much more expensive it is.
Well,
That's funny.
there's something missing here. A huge part of the Heroescape lore, and that's the Kyrie. I don't see a single Kyrie here.
Yeah, so hot off the presses and just being seen for the first time right now. You will see on your screen some concept art that we are working up to
Glenerva?
final to introduce Kyrie into this HasLab offering as well. The Kyrie people are angelic natives to the world of
Whoa.
Valhalla. They are kind of central to the
Oh, look at that
narrative
giant
of the
axe. That's
Battle of
cool.
Time. And they're kind of almost requirements.
There's a lot of them.
in the world of
What in the
Heroescape, so we
world?
could not possibly offer a HasLab without also including some Kyrie in this offering. And you may know.
So how many was that? Like 7?
there are
We're back
some-
to
there are some-
Glenerva.
there are some
Glenerva.
efforts to celebrate with the fans some associations with certain Valkyrie that maybe we didn't do in the first run. Craig?
Yeah, exactly. Aquila has never had a Kiri, so there's a.
Oh, he calls him
Aquila
Kiri.
hero.
Okay.
Vidar's never had a Kiri, so there's a Vidar hero.
Uh-huh.
There's an Ukar Kiri, and there's 2 new Kiri for each of the new Valkyries. So 2 for
Cool.
Ragna and 2 for Valeric.
So Utkar has
Yeah,
Bruna
you
and
might
Taylor.
notice that the Kyrie broken up into kind of tribes.
I like how they're saying
stories,
Kyrie
each
and
tribe
Kiri
very
right next to
different
each other.
visual language to them, a very different set of
It looks like
ideals.
it would say
So
Kyrie,
there's very
but
broad
I can see
range of
Kiri,
mixed
considering you say
styles
Valkyrie.
to the people.
Craig, I gotta ask, how many of these things can I have on the battlefield at once? Once they finally show up, can I just flood them with Kyrie? Like, what's the deal?
Yeah, I mean, it all depends on the point cost, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it costs 50 points, then you can field a lot of them. If it costs 200 points, then you can't field as many.
Yeah, it's amazing that you know, anybody new to kind of Heroescape kind of coming in today, that you know you can purchase an offering like this. And you can make that a 2-player game with big, giant, massive armies on either side.
I wonder
or you can actually
how
kind
many
of
people
break
who
this up
watch
the way
this
rules work
actually
with
saw
this.
this and they're like,
Play with
oh,
this
I know what
stuff.
Heroescape
You know,
is.
with the same
I know
team,
what they're
same
talking
system.
about. Because I got a feeling most people don't know.
Make this a HasLab.
Like, when they're talking, oh, 200 points,
Battle.
they're going to be like,
I'm
what the hell does that even
probably
mean?
1,000-point plus armies we were playing with, right?
Yeah.
Maybe
It was
I'm wrong.
crazy. It was awesome, and it took hours. But I would do it again. I'm just asking for an invite to come play Heroescape at your house again.
Invite given.
Chaz, seeing those Kyrie, what do you think?
I thought it was really interesting that the individual tribes within the faction had their own kind of visual language, that you're incorporating that into it. That kind of, to kind of reinstate the lore in that aspect. I thought that was really a nice touch.
Yeah, it's actually one of the great little things about Heroescape is that there is this really deep story that was kind of first established, and taking that baton and kind of carrying that forward and actually really fleshing it out and making it broader and bigger and sharing with the fans kind of as we go forward a kind of deeper understanding of that narrative is one of our goals.
That's a noble aspiration, and one that it seems that you are achieving.
Yeah, well, the storytelling part of Heroescape has always seemed to be both enthralling as well as confusing, right? For that first
Yeah,
era.
I think mostly confusing,
So as we
and
go
maybe,
in, that's something
I don't know if
we
it's
spent a
enthralling.
lot of time discussing,
For
whether
me,
or not
I mean,
certain things are canon.
I mean, I'll be blatant and saying I don't really care much for lore for most games, but like especially for Heroescape, it's just like I don't really. It's just all it is a bunch of like, all right, so the well springs. It's like everyone's fighting over these well springs to drink the water or whatever it is, and then they summon more units via those well springs, right? That's kind of the whole point. So it's like all the point of it, any of it seems to be, is get the well springs, summon more units, and overpower the other guy. At least big picture as far as I can tell. And again, I didn't dig much into lore. I usually don't for most games because I'm usually just there to play the game and enjoy the mechanics. So
Whether they're fan-driven, does that make it canon, and how we would approach the age.
yeah, the Heroescape could use a lot of like.
Yeah, and then on top of
The individual scenarios are fun, but like overarching story, it just doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Expanded the universe a little bit, And so what does that mean for the future?
I guess other than taking over the world,
How can we continue
like
to
Utgar,
kind of
so
carry all those
sure,
great ideas and
that's
that amazing
acceptable.
creativity going forward?
Awesome. Well, this is a HasLab campaign. We're talking about a crowdfunding initiative. So you couldn't be doing crowdfunding without two things: exclusives or stretch goals. So let's first talk about the exclusives. There's 2 figures, 2 playable characters.
Oh, it's crowdfunded?
You'll never be able to get anywhere else unless you back the HasLab campaign right now by clicking on a QR
Here we
code
go.
or a link or going to a website.
Okay.
What are they? What's the first one?
Yeah, so they're actually on either side of the kind of table here. As part of the Ironclad Collective, you have Scavarith, the Lord of Ruin.
That's an exclusive?
A giant
And that is too?
centipede kind of monstrosity as part of that faction.
Okay.
And you also have the Thoraxis Dragoon, a kind of cavalry lieutenant within the Nemesis War Brood as well.
And just for scale, look at how big these figures
It looks
are.
like
These are the large
Wasaga,
size, right?
Wasaga with
both
2
on his
guns
faces.
and a little more like
Yeah,
mechanical. It's kind of funny.
These are some large figures. Actually, this guy's right here, and then the other one's all the way across the table just to drive the cameraman mad. But it's another large figure over there. So those are both exclusives. So again,
Okay.
they'll only be available if you back the HasLab campaign, and will be part of that offering.
Yeah.
Okay.
Of course, there
Back
are
the
also
HasLab
stretch
campaign.
goals. We have 5.
I'm not sure how to do
planned,
that.
So hopefully we fund, and then if we fund, we're gonna be able to put some more stuff into that box. You guys know how this all works.
There's Drake.
And I think that this was a really
There's
smart touch by the team.
something.
It's thinking about both the legacy of Heroescape as well as taking us into
That
the
looks
next
like
generation. Do you
an
wanna
upgraded
walk
major
us
Q,
through a bit?
Q10,
legacy is a
Q9.
great word. In the
A
original
major.
kind of story of Heroescape, Hasbro had kind of built a lot of narrative. They had generated webisodes.
Oh, look at that.
books around
That
an
looks kind of
alliance
cool.
of kind of
Although I don't know why a
characters
winged
that were,
flying person
helping
needs a
unite
flying
the
mount,
developed
but
theory
it's
of
still
the
cool.
worlds together against Utgar and kind of thwart his plans for evil and annihilation. And they were very endearing characters. They were both amazing to play on the tabletop, and they were.
He's got a giant rocket on his shoulder. Just
of them being such
don't
a
piss him
broad
off or
mix
he'll
and
nuke you.
range between them. And so what we've decided to do is to bring them forward into the Age of Annihilation. That they have all kind of made it this far into the epic war that has raged this entire time. But you know, things have changed, and they've changed. And so each one of them has kind of evolved in terms of their powers, their abilities, their visual language, and it's giving us a chance for Heroescapers to kind of have those
To
to
rebalance Raylin and Q9.
in a way that they've never had in their collection before.
Yeah, I mean, Sergeant Drake can finally fly with the Kiri.
I mean,
Because he's got a jetpack on his back.
finally.
That's freaking
Finally.
cool.
No more grappling hook, right?
No, he's got the grapple gun.
He's
but
got them both.
It's cooler now. He can, like, grab people and then suck them right to him so he can hit them with the katana. So
No way.
He's,
What?
like, he's one of my favorites. Sergeant
Yo.
Drake Alexander.
Well, and he's the first.
That's gonna
so
be
let's
cool.
get him unlocked as fast as possible.
Yeah.
And as well,
He's gonna be like an assassin, effectively, just like flying around and picking guys out and killing them with a katana.
And that's our final stretch goal. Where is she at?
She is all the way down on the right side of the table here. That is Evil Raylin. So in the original story, in the comic books, we had a narrative of Raylin being kind of brainwashed and kind of taken over by Utgar temporarily. But we've decided that her ambitions and her thirst for power have led her back to kind of Utgar's fold. So we have brought back Evil Raylin atop a vicious kind of manticore creature hair.
Just
so
don't
she
give
can just,
defense plus 2
just
freaking
absolutely
force space
wreck
aura,
on the
please.
battlefield now.
So that's Raylin,
do
huh?
everything we would want Evil Raylin to be in the
So wait,
game of
Raylin's like evil permanently? What the heck,
I'm
dude?
super happy with Evil Raylin, even though I'm kind of disappointed that she turned evil. Because I liked good Raylin.
Most people liked good Raylin. I think that's kind of the point, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and actually there was like this shelf image back in the day of like the other Raylan painted red, like the comic book, and they were like, "That's evil Raylan! That's evil Raylan!"
Well, now it's official.
Yes.
If we got enough backers, it's official.
So all the fan theories
Oh, you gotta back it.
For over a decade have now come true
There
in
you
our
go.
stretch goals.
Chaz, you got any parting questions before we wrap up this panel?
I had a couple of questions actually. You mentioned, I think you might have answered some of them, but in the initial tweet that went out, some of the images of the figures were just gray plastic, and they're colored here in front of you. But you did mention at the top of the show that even you don't know what the final product is going to look like. So is the plan for it to be each faction to be colored plastic like this, or is there a different? Are they going to be gray, or what's the plan for that?
They'll be molded in the general colors for sure.
By general, they mean
Cool.
the leader, the general
Right, like,
leader.
Yeah, so Jandar's in blue, Ugar's in red, Revna's in orange, Vidar's in that like
So
sort
you'll be able
of
to
that
get that
light
visual
gray.
distinction across the battlefield.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the kind of manifestos that the design development team on Avalon Hill lives by is this idea of being able to open up an Avalon Hill game and get right into the action. So we wanted to make sure that the color coding associated with the Valkyries will allow players to just break open their HasLab, get right into the battle.
Because I was just about to say, when he said, "Oh, just break it open and get right into the action," my first thought was, wait a minute, you have to break it open and then paint it, and then you can get into the action. I guess though, I see how, or like if you have the painted, like I don't mind that. Personally, even from like AOTP, it's like you can kind of quickly tell what's what, because literally it's just like the white guys go with the white cards, the red guys go with the red cards, the blue guys go with the blue cards. Not hard to figure out. Where like when you had the straight up Heroescape, it's like you had to actually match like the sculpts to each of the cards and be like, oh, there's a lot of human-sized figures and they're all different colors because they're all painted. It's harder for maybe the average gamer, especially, or someone who opens up Heroescape up brand new, to be like, what am I using? But I've heard and seen, I think, a lot of people being like, oh, we don't want this unpainted stuff. Frankly, I don't care. I wouldn't care either way. I'm gonna have probably most of these guys memorized after a few weeks of playing the game. I'm not sure if I would prefer it painted or not. It's no different to me for the most part. Like, I haven't painted my AOTP. I have all those sets. I have doubles of the first set. Still haven't painted any one of them. I'm not sure how I feel. I think for sake of especially though, when it comes out brand new, definitely. Like, blue guys go to Jandar, red guys go to Ukar. It's gonna make it easier for everyone to figure out most of the stuff to start. It just looks less cool when you're playing on the board, though, in my opinion. Instead of having fully like colored, like
I think that also brings.
having these, like what we see in the middle here. Like, all you see is like orange and blue and yellow figures. It looks less cool than if they were all fully painted. Like when someone goes to the table, or to a table, or the game shop, or game shop, it's like all they see is like the orange. It looks kind of cheesy or like cheap to do it like this. So it's definitely, that's a double-edged sword, because it looks cheap, where like you could, with the original Heroescape, you'd have fully painted figures. They look really nice. This looks cheap.
Brings up another really
Again, double-edged sword.
There's no sprues.
Easier to get into because like colors are easy to match up.
It's in our ethos. No
Less
sprues
appealing,
on
I guess,
Avalon Hill Prime.
Nope.
when people are watching and they don't know what it is because it just looks cheap from monocolored figures.
Accessibility is, another pillar of Avalon Hill, and so, being able to break open the box and not have to assemble your collection and your treasures and jump right into the battle is also part of how we developed to this item.
That was another question, because especially some of the big,
Like, I just feel like these would look a lot cooler, like from a marketing perspective, if they were actually painted.
Yeah, we might do a couple, such as the wings on the dragon. It might be a snap, just so you can get it in the box and you can kind of store your treasure back on your shelfie once more and kind of show it with pride. We wanted to make sure that that was still capable, but we also didn't want to turn this into a lot of sprues or a lot of kind of
Assembly.
Assembly, sticky hands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have another question. Actually, I have several. And since I have you
Hey,
here,
until they tell
I
me
might
to
as well
wrap it up,
them.
ask away.
I have a question about the Age of Annihilation moniker. Now, is Age of Annihilation, is that just for the whole reintroduction of Netscape? Is Age of Annihilation just for the whole reintroduction of Heroescape? Or is that like a certain set, the first set of this new scape that's coming out?
Yeah, so just like the original Rise of Valkyrie and Swarm of the Morrow, the idea is to introduce an era of the game's narrative. So Age of Annihilation represents potentially kind of an expansive opportunity for Heroescape going forward.
Potentially.
And it kind of starts with this HasLab campaign, but you know, that would be plans for the future and an opportunity to continue to grow on Heroescape. But the plan is that Age of Annihilation represents a kind of broad narrative of this time period in the story, starting with the HasLab campaign.
Right, it's like Rise of the Valkyrie, Swarm of the Morrow, Age of Annihilation.
All right, so you guys might even have more stuff up your sleeves, is what you're telling me.
Yeah, we have a lot of ideas.
That might not be a bad way to do it. If I'm not sure if this is what they even mean by what they just said. It has to be though, because I didn't even consider this myself. It's too much. But to be like, you have the Rise of the Valkyrie, and then the Swarm of the Morrow, which is still like Drake and Raylan, just like in a different time period with like, I don't know if they're on a different planet. I can't remember what. So it's like, I wonder if they could do that, or if they should do that, to be like, oh, here's, you know, Valhalla 400 years from now, and Drake and Raylan are both long dead, and it's like, here's their descendants, and like that's a whole new set of like, you know, again, like Raylan's descendants, or like some dude inherited what's his name, Drake's sword, or like Jandar dies and maybe he has a son, he has offspring, something like that. That might be a way to just go about doing it. That's gonna require a lot more design to like draw up new stories, to be like, oh yeah, where's the kill off Drake, and here's his son, and then you gotta make a whole new backstory. But that sounds cooler than like what we're getting in general here, which is just like a continued fight over like the course of like 20 years, where like, yeah, we're seeing recurring, here's Drake and like here's evil Raylan again, and it's like kind of cool, but it's like there needs to be something more, in my opinion. I don't even know how to better explain it other than like something more than just like, oh, here's Raylan, she's fighting again. It's like, all right, cool, I guess. I won't complain a lot because new Heroescape is awesome. But it just got me thinking.
Follow the link in the description below.
Yeah, exactly. Follow that link, and then there's a lot of stuff in discussion.
Yeah. I had one other question. It's about the character cards, the old, really unique, awesome little, you know, hexagon character cards.
Yeah, those.
Is the
They're
plan
like
still have these guys of this unique shape?
like very funny compared to what we just saw on the table earlier.
Maybe standardized Tarot-sized cards for deck management.
Man, 45 minutes almost.
Players both versions.
Yes. So actually, as we talk, the Hasbro Pulse website is going live, and it will actually show the new concept for the cards. The idea
which
there
was a
is
straight up
to introduce
octagon,
a
hexagon
footprint of the original cards, but to take advantage of maybe some of that negative space around the card that wasn't kind of optimized, and give us a chance to put a little bit more rules and scale everything up a little bit easier, so when you're kind of sitting across the table, you can kind of see everybody's rules more easily, but to kind of honor that kind of footprint and that kind of style of the hex logic in that, and that to proactively answer another question, which people might be scrambling to run over to the Hasbro Pulse website right now, is that each one of the cards will have a full color representation of each one of the characters. So if you are a painter and you're looking for that opportunity to kind of see each one of the characters kind of in their full color kind of iteration, each one of the army cards will actually have that representative on them, so you can kind of see them all fleshed out in that way.
Nice.
Or you can just paint them in completely different colors and confuse everybody.
Painting them potentially.
Uh-oh, I'm getting a phone call.
And still, it opens it up to your own
Cut. All right,
creativity.
back to it.
Well, if you choose to do
Absolutely.
with it. So.
And you also mentioned some D20 special abilities and such. And that was one of the things that was one of my favorite aspects was just the versatility of some of these character abilities. So I was going to ask if different D20 abilities are still kind of baked into a lot of the characters, and if any
The really swingy D20 abilities, I was not a big fan of those.
Oh yeah, the D20.
I don't mind them.
Used throughout a lot of these cards.
But like when they're like super swingy, like I love Nagaxa because it's just hilarious when you take control.
You probably like tomorrow then, Chaz, because that's
yeah. But it's like when they're super swingy like Nagaxa, where it's like not only you're not killing their unit, but you're actually taking control of it. It's just really swingy, and I'm not a huge fan of that, unfortunately. It's just like too much luck, call it for me. To me, to like really love it.
It's something that.
But it's fun to use, like casually.
When I first
don't get me wrong.
Was working on Heroescape, and people would ask me, well, okay, what would you do if Heroescape came back? And the first thing I said was like, I would get the guys from the war. Well, we call it the War Council, but it's really the guys from Heroescapers who continued to like.
not that Brandon Weicker asshole though.
They know everything about Heroescape. And they did a great job with these cards because all these cards are like new and fun and different because they've been doing it for 12 years while we've been doing other stuff.
And this is the group that we've lovingly called the War Council, right?
Yes.
And so they've been helping us design the game under, of course, your amazing leadership.
For sure. Yeah.
That's got to be cool, man.
These factions, as well as
I've been thinking a lot about game design lately, dude. Like that would be so cool to be able to design, to use like.
Introduce rule mechanics.
This is why I'm gonna start working on AOTP customs, frankly, because this stuff is cool, and I want to do it for AOTP. I think.
So by bringing these,
and not only that, but speaking of unpainted figures, this crap might go pretty well with AOTP by itself. They're not perfectly colored, but it's like gray can kind of go with black. I guess the yellow guys could go with white. I don't know. There's ways to figure this out, but this could work, and I feel like I might legitimately look into creating custom AOTP cards to merge these guys into AOTP because. It would be a fun little foray of like game design.
Existing collections like what you have, Chaz, behind your shoulders there, you can now create so many more combinations and army configurations and list building that this kind of unlocks by being a lot of new kind of mechanics and powers.
That's great. Do you got one more question for us, Chaz? Or are you good?
I'm never good. The only other question I could think of at this point, when we might probably see it in the campaign and potential other sets, is just any hints of additional terrain types that might become available. We had lava, we had ice, we had stone.
Oh, this is a good question.
And I think you even showed the ruins that looked like they've been stacked on top of each other.
Yeah.
There's the old castle. What kind of other geographic tantalizations do you have in store for us?
Yeah, good question.
All sorts of stuff. If this, that's why you got to go back this because we have lots and lots of ideas. You can just go anywhere with this. That's the great thing about Heroescape is that we can go futuristic. We can start to come out with futuristic type walls.
Sci-fi, historical. Yeah, you go anywhere.
Yeah.
That's what's nuts about it.
The terrain itself also has the opportunity for introducing variances in gameplay too.
Thank you.
That's probably the end of it then, huh? Oh, there's still a little more, it looks like. Yeah, they're very detailed.
Looks so good.
They made that?
We got the one and only Scavarith, Lord of Ruin, here on set with us today.
How much did that cost to make?
And figures we just heard the Avalon Hill team talk about, and from what
is this just CGI? The way they twisted that camera, I was.
Clear the battlefield.
Yeah.
He's guns out.
This looks kind of fake. I'm not gonna lie. Like the way this is turning, this looks fake.
I just love my man. Like it looks like he's
oh, whatever. That's so crazy.
Man, you look great. You look great. We're excited to have you on set, man.
Oh wait, okay, so it was totally CGI. What the heck? Okay, so my eyes weren't deceiving me. My goodness.
Even if you got guys out there who are painting these incredible pieces, like if I had Scavarith, I'm gonna make sure to paint them. I don't know, something maybe gold, black. You know,
I'm gonna paint them no color, null. I am far too lazy.
Boom! This is what I love listening.
We'll call it here. I'm getting sick of listening to this. I already gave most of my thoughts. You watched the video. Let me know what you thought of what you got planned. I'm gonna have to go find these the backer pages and all this crap at some point, man. Oh my gosh. Comments down below, please. Hit like, hit subscribe. I'll be watching certainly from a distance for Heroescape here, and I'll be churning out my own content all the same. Take it easy until the next video, guys.